What are we drinking today?
We're on a little bit of different beers here. So you've got the Governor, and I'm sitting on the Indian Ale at the moment. So a couple of new releases, or relatively new releases. Governor's been around for it's probably 12 months now. The Indian Ale probably only sort of 4 to 5 months. So fairly new in the scheme of things here.
All right, we are here with Charlie Hodgson, and Charlie's been awesome enough to give over of his time this afternoon to catch up at Mash Brewing out at Swan Valley. Charlie, thanks so much for taking a break and chatting to us.
No worries, my pleasure.
Well, I interrupted a sampling kind of meeting in between brewers and owners earlier, so what was going on there in the brew house today?
We're just looking, I guess what we spoke a little bit about off camera, about design, structure, markets, consumer demand. We've got a mid-strength out at the market at the moment, so that's had a very soft release on draft only. We are looking at putting it in cans, but yeah, at the moment it's just that fine line between what we want, what I want, how I want to develop and design a beer, and how I want to balance and structure it, and what will actually sell. So the market is screaming for hop-driven everything at the moment, which stresses me out a little bit. Trying to find and source and also have a point of difference, across the styles. But yeah, basically that was just looking at the mid and what we've got. Are we happy with it? Yes, it's a very well structured beer. Is it going to sell? Is it going to capture the market? It's a crystal ball question, really.
Your pedigree's from Gage Roads, and before that it was vineyard based. Was it down?
Winery. So yeah, kind of same but not same. So I was at Horton Wines over the river. Yeah, so I'm a bit of a Swan Valley boy. Spent 10 of the last 15 years out here. So but I guess learnt my cellar trade at Hortons, and I learnt so much there. Not terribly beer specific, but as far as pump selection, line selection, all sorts of filtration, all my oak work. I did probably 6 to 8 months of oak work every year there, post-vintage.
I think that's been a strong an influence to some degree to what you do now, what you would like to chase now.
To do, I guess probably, I've never really thought about that, but yeah, for sure. I love, big oak-driven Chardonnays and stuff like that. We started playing around with some wild fermented Saisons, like straight into brand new oak. That was really cool when I was there. I wasn't really a red drinker when I was there, but certainly love oak. Love the smell of it. It smells like home. It's earthy, it's cool, it's traditional. It's that's one of the things that grates on me a little bit. Challenger v copycat. Challenger or English ales. We get so many expats. So many trailers that have travelled the country and come here or to the Sail and Anchor and drink it on hand pump, and so it's the best English IPA they've had in the land, but it still doesn't really move. So it's a shame to be able to do that, but for people not to really get its awesomeness, I guess. Like I say, and I've said to a few different people, even bargaining for hops over the last few years, it's look, I'd rather not buy hundreds of kilos of Citras, Amarillos, Galaxies, Centennials, yada, yada, yada. I could go and buy all your low-end hops and produce some amazing beers, but we'd go broke very quickly. So, Challenger's been a labour of love of mine. Challenger's been around for 4 years now, and we love it. All the brewers that have come through, we were talking about it just today. Jackson up at Indian Ocean, who you'll speak to, brewed with me for a while. Eddie, that's at Creatures now. Drew, that's left, Keegan, Kyle, we all have got a real soft spot for Challenger, but it's still getting lost in the market a little bit. People don't really understand it. They think it's an IPA, and by IPAs they think copycat, they think hop hog, they think Pirate Life IPA, and they get an English version of it and they think we've got it wrong. So that comes with knowledge and consumer education. So, but given that, I've obviously seemed to have developed a knack for hop-driven beers. Governor's gone 2 from 2, like I say, 2 golds at 2 shows. Was very unlucky to miss a trophy. Copycat's won 3 golds and a handful of trophies in Melbourne. It's won 3 golds and a handful of trophies in Perth. So obviously seem to have a knack for blending hops and malt. Indian Ale is going to do great things, which you haven't got. Actually, I've got, but the Indian Ale is amazing at the moment. The Indian Ale is really a nice little 4.5% session beer. But yeah, I guess have I answered your question, or have I gone off on a tangent?
No, I mean you'd be wanting to drive the malt forward beers, and Challenge is one of those.
Yeah, Challenge is definitely one. I'd love to play with English milds. I'd love to do a mid-strength mild, something nice ruby red, deep brown, crystal clear, which is probably not truly the style, but certainly English IPAs, special bitters. I'd love to play with oak. Probably in tank, probably not with barrels. I don't really have the infrastructure, the space all the time to deal with full barrels, but we've seen with grass cutter over the years that's gone now, unfortunately, but we can get great results with oak in tank, with chips, surface area. It's very time friendly for us, so I love to hark back to some of those. I've got to think of them off the top of my head now. You see them around the boundaries at cricket in England. It's not Fuller's, it's
Young's.
No, not Young's, but it's along those lines. It'll come to me later, but sort of put a more somewhat new age spin on something traditional. Porters, I love porters. I've only brewed one commercial porter since I've been here in 5 years. Brewed heaps of them as a home brewer. I'm not a huge stout man. Scotch-driven beers, I love playing with smoke. I really love smoked beers without going over the top. I guess I love being a little bit clever and a little bit creative, and I like to confuse the public with what I use. The oak in grass cutter, where people drink it and not really understand what they're drinking, but be intrigued by it. Same with the peat smoke in the Bond Scotch. Same with we do an ESB that we put a little bit of peat smoke into as well, but just in quantities enough that'll make people question what it is, but they can't really put their finger on it. I love being a little bit quirky, but still quite traditional.
I was lucky enough to get a grass cutter when we were down in Bunbury sometime last year, or when we first arrived to Perth. So it was and great drop, and know exactly what you're heading for with that kind of mystery character in an ale, but something that's going to be memorable. Or more English style pubs, I guess, to capitalise on beers like that.
I think it'll be a while before the worm will turn on that to the market for sure, but I'm going to try. I'll keep rolling them out. My base beer for my hop beer is every year is an ESB. If I do get hit up for specialty beers or collabs, I'll generally go back to my ESB and then evolve out. I don't like to let it go.
Any collabs coming up in the year, or what kind of other, what else are you looking to for the rest of 2017 as far as Mash goes?
Got to survive April first. Look, there's not really too much that I can allude to, and there's not really much in the pipelines, to be honest. So, there's always bottle shops. Bottle shops are big drivers. We've got some great industry here. Elliot and the guys, Elliot and Josh. At Maine, the boys, Arley and Nick out at Celebrations Hammer Hill, the boys at Celebrations Carlisle. There's a lot of high-end copper and oak. There's so many of them that are, really want to get involved in the brewing scene, not only from a consumer point of view, but they want to be involved in it. So, we did some pretty cool stuff last year with the guys at Celebrations Hammer Hill. So Nick and Arley. Did a little collab with those guys, but we're not huge collab brewers really. We do dabble a little bit, but I not a control freak, but I kind of like to do my own thing and then run it out from there. But there's certainly a lot you can learn from a collab. But I like to consult these guys, the guys that work with me, and I will generally design everything, but then go back to them, explain to them why I've done it, why I've used what I've used, and have a look at it and see what they can throw at me.
You picked up a swag of awards for Copycat from early back as 2014. It's still collecting awards today, and it's some really kind of cracking beers in the lineup. So you've got to be happy with the result of some of your kind of showcase beers.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 2014 was a bit of a coming out year for us. I'd been here. all late 2011, all 2012, 2013, and enjoyed some good success at AIBA, at home in Perth, over in Sydney. But winning and Copycat, some people know it, some people won't. But that tank of Copycat, that won Champion Australian Beer and Champion IPA, was its first tank. It was tank one of Copycat. So
stab in the dark.
Yeah, kind of. And again, like we alluded to off camera, I'm not. If it was up to me, our lineup would probably be much different. But Copycat was consumer driven. We had to go there. We were getting probably a little bit lost in the market. So we had to go there. So we went out, launched one, thought we'd throw one at AIBA, and came out with the biggest gong in the country. So you can't complain about that. But and then we went to Sydney. We won Champion Draft Beer in Sydney with Russell, which was an amber ale. Then came back home to Perth and won Champion WA Brewery for the first of 2 years in a row. And Copycat's certainly been the driving force amongst that. But it was really nice to see Russell, our amber ale, pop up in amongst that and win big. 2014, 2015. Last year was a quiet year by our standards, given what we had. But we still picked up 5 gold medals, just missed trophies at AIBA and at Perth. So with Sarcasm, with Copycat, with Governor. Governor's only been shown twice and won golds in both shows. So we're expecting big things from him.
So you've got some things sitting in the tank over here, and some of that is definitely geared for the beer awards in a few months' time. So what's kind of coming up in your schedule, seasonal wise, and for awards and otherwise?
Things are pretty nuts at the moment, given the time of year. February, March, April should be generally our quieter time of year, but given some of our growth and infrastructure changes, it's actually crazy busy. But certainly going into the beer award season, we do have a look, see what's out and about. Again, consumer demand, what's obviously not only going to judge well and pick up the judge's eye, but also what's going to sell. We've got 2 Imperial Red Ales in at the moment. One's dried out at 9.2%, so that is pretty intense. The other one is nearly dried, about the same number. So one is sitting cold on dry hops at the moment. We'll go through the filter tomorrow, and the other is nearly dry. So we'll look at them. We'll look at what we get out of FE3 and then see what we like out of that. We very rarely test brew or pilot brew. Generally, I've got to go once and get it right. So no pressure. But
is that an intentional choice? It's just just managing the time, not running
time and tank space. Yep. Really, we can't afford to have lots of tanks tied up for too long. We need to get them in, get them out. We are a small brewery, we're a production brewery, and I get pushed for volumes, and a lot of that comes from our success too. The Copycat has driven that. Black Cat we spoke about a little while ago. Black Cat's getting rave reviews at the moment, and I just heard from a few people today, sales and from an ownership point of view, that people are pushing for us to can that already. Right. I don't really want to, given volume pressures, but the Black Cat's pretty cool. But there's certainly things I'd change about it if I went again.
Everything's happened at a bit of a rush. September, I think you set up canning, or in the last few months anyway, canning's kind of up and running and in motion. So has that kind of changed the dynamics yet again of production?
Yeah, I speak pretty openly and honestly, and probably a bit too open and honest sometimes, but I hated bottling beer. I've been on record saying that loud and clear for years and years, and as soon as we got the canner, it's like, oh man, I wish I could just bottle beer. I really hate canning now. But yeah, look, the can has brought us to an old new market. We had to get on board, we had to go. It took us a lot longer to get our heads around it than we thought. Keegan's been gold, Cole's been gold. We've all brought different perspectives to it. Obviously my beer knowledge, Keegan's a qualified fitter. Kyle's just a great guy that's very switched on. So canning's allowed us to shuffle a lot more volume out the door quicker. We can pack at twice the rate we were bottling. We've still got a few things we want to nut out with it. We're still very much in its infancy, but canning's definitely opened up some doors for us.
It's taken up canning lines have taken up a bit of space on freighters coming into Frio, and recently every brewery is looking at one, if not installed one in the last 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, well, it's market, and I've probably said to a few guys that I was brewing with at Gage Roads 6 or 7 years ago, when we started to see it come out of the States, that was where it was going to go. And if you jumped onto it quickly in Australia 5 years ago, I guess AKA Pirate Life, but probably a little bit earlier, and those guys have certainly had massive success. But maybe on sort of our volumes, us Eagle Bays, bootlegs, these sort of 1,200 litre systems, you would have enjoyed quick success, I think, if you would have got it right. So, but it's markets. I never used to like drinking beer out of cans. I never thought it was a craft beer market, but you could see the way it was going, and now, I love having cans in, and they fit nicely in the door of your fridge too, so they don't take a whole heap of space. So yeah, we've had to go there, but we're wrapped. The new branding is really popping on cans.
Yeah, absolutely. It's we'll try and get an image up on screen, but some of the can designs are just cracking, so you've got to be happy with that.
Yeah, a new graphics guy has come on board. That's it doesn't work for us, but that we've had employed and has contracted some work out to us. He's pulled bits and bobs and really driven it. We've had a look at probably 3 different companies that I know of. I haven't been involved in a lot of it, but yeah, Ian's done a fantastic job for us. The brand switch has been amazing.
I usually bookend my interviews, Charlie, with asking what's in your beer fridge, and you can go shelf to shelf. But when you're not drinking mash beers, what do you head home on the weekend and get a hold of, or at the moment?
I don't drink a lot of stuff from out of work, which is a little bit dangerous. We're all too aware of cellar palate, another winery term, I guess. But I drink local. I'm not a big fan. I obviously cut my teeth like most of us on drinking beers out of the States, out of the UK, but you just can't beat local beers. You just can't. They come from so close. So I will still go. As much as we're fierce competitors, I'll still grab Feral out of the fridge. I'll still grab Nail out of the fridge. I'll go to Eagle Bay. I'll go to Bootleg. I like to look after my own. It's I think the small guys need plenty of love, and they do things better than the big guys can, to be brutally honest. Batch size is everything. It doesn't take long to run out 1,000 litres of beer, which is a tank space basically, whereas when you're running out 10, 15, 20,000 litres, then product sits around, and fresh is everything. So I support local.
There's an emphasis on that in a southwest WA, and it's maybe not because of geography, but more beer styles and just the distribution or just plain old preference. Drink the beer fresh and keep it like milk, and get through it. Yeah,
they're doing a really good job actually, the Southwest Brewers, of driving local. We need to get it, and I could be a little bit controversial in saying this, but I think the publicans, a lot of the publicans in Perth are very big on promoting eastern states and overseas beers, and not so keen on promoting their own. Whereas you go to Melbourne promote their own so hard, it's not even funny. It's very hard to get in over there. So I think we could probably do a little bit more support from the trade. Sure, we do charge a little bit more, but we are small. I don't have cost restraints on anything I brew. You've already met Brad, but I've never had a cost restraint put on me once. If I want to brew, I go. If I want to use Maris cider, if I want to use 10 kilos of Citra in a beer, I go. So we can do things that other guys can't. Not just, us at Mash, but us as in small. We're capable of some pretty cool stuff.
And Swan Valley itself is a pretty kind of excellent place to get a hold on that for WA visitors and people coming across, right? You've got a whole raft of guys down the road that will kind of be in that realm of just fresh local beer.
Yeah, absolutely. We love. I've known Brendan and Will for over 10 years now over at Feral, and Will probably for nearly as long. Like I say, fierce competitors. But we get a lot of people coming here that get suggested to come here from there, and we send people there. Damo up the road at Elmar's, is doing a great job. Picked up some nice trophies at Perth last year. Steve Wearing down at Homestead, a lovely kit, lovely venue. Steve's a bit similar to me. He's a little bit traditional, but he's producing some very solid beers. So yeah, we've got a lovely little footprint, and Ironbark just up the road from us as well, down at Banana Road. So we've got a nice little stronghold here, for sure.
It's been awesome to come out today, Charlie. You've got some transfer into overseas, so I won't take up too much more of your time. But yeah, Charlie, Mash Brewing, thank you so much for taking the time out today. Cheers.